My belief is everything in life and business swings on hinges. Hinges open doors. I call those hinges relationships, and relationships open up doors of opportunity for you.
Welcome, listeners, to the What Went Wrong podcast. I am Tabatha Thorell, and I am here with my very special guest, my amazing friend, Mr. ROR, Christopher Voss. Yay, I'm so excited to have him on this podcast. He is a man of so many hats. So I'm going to be short and sweet, and you guys can read through his bio even more. But I would not be of service if I did not share just a few little tidbits with my audience here. Christopher Voss, first of all, I have to say he is a father of 9 children. 9. I have 5, and he makes me look like a pansy over here with 9. Him and his beautiful wife Jennifer have created this business called ROR, which is return on relationships. Most of you are probably thinking I'm missaying it. It is ROR, not ROI. And he will elaborate a little bit into what that meaning is. But the reason why I want to have him on is because Christopher just spoke at Funnel Hacking Live. And if you guys do not know what that is, it's an amazing conference for these awesome marketers, entrepreneurs, people. And I think there was like 5,000 plus. I don't know if I'm getting that exact. I know they were hoping for, anywhere from 4,000 to 7,000. I think it was around 5,000 to 6,000. He just spoke and crushed it in September. And I just had to have him on because I feel like so many of us, we as entrepreneurs, we're just striving and we want to do all these things. And what we really need to focus on is setting back and being like, where's the relationship at? Because I know you listeners, you felt like before you might have felt like a transaction, right? Like you've bought a coaching program, you've bought a course, and maybe you just felt that like almost ickiness. And Christopher is here to share with you some just different things on how that ickiness can go away and how you can be an entrepreneur of integrity and relationship. But where he is now with all this success and his beautiful family and speaking on stages and building this incredible business, he has a story. So, Christopher, I want to know what went wrong.
Well, thank you so much for having me, by the way. It's grateful to be here. You are a dear friend of mine. And, it's amazing how relationships start off. I mean, it started off as we were helping you with ROR and you were a client of ours. And then that transitions into client to friend. And that's what's great about the evolution of this business and this entrepreneurial thing that we're in. And yeah, it was an honor. It was an honor to have Russell Brunson pick me to speak on stage at Funnel Hacking Live, walking out on stage in front of 5,000 plus people. It wasn't that I was worried. Like I'm okay with speaking in front of groups, but that group had so many people that were my peers. These were people that, people that you looked up to, mentors. And the last thing you want to do in our family, I don't know, this might be kind of crude, but you don't want to poop the bed. And I didn't want to poop the bed. I don't walk on stage. And so I have a coach that coaches me and he's like, Christopher, your focus is this event, getting ready for it. You don't want to poop the bed and you want to do a good job. Number one, for Russell Brunson. And also number two, there are so many people out in the audience, just like yours, that are listening right now. Now they watch too as well, right? This is, you reproduce this as video as well.
Yep. It's correct? On YouTube and listeners. Yep.
Okay, good. So what went wrong? Something drastically, incredibly went wrong. And I'm fortunate enough that I'm alive and I'm here to tell about it. Mm-hmm. And the key thing that I want those of you that are listening and watching this to remember, you have to think 2024, it's a fresh start. It's a fresh year, new beginning, new opportunity. We've got 12 months ahead of us. And I know that many of you are looking for an opportunity. You're looking for something, you're looking for a door to open. And if that door opens for you, there's an opportunity on the other side. And I know, I could almost say 99% of the time people are thinking this because New Year's resolutions, goal setting, all these things that we're focusing on that we want to do this year. So everyone's looking for opportunities. One of the greatest ways that you can get that opportunity and you can get that door to open is finding that relationship. So my belief is everything in life and business swings on hinges. Hinges open doors. I call those hinges relationships, and relationships open up doors of opportunity for you, because there is going to be a period of time where something's going to go wrong.
Mm-hmm.
And you're going to need people there that support you, have your back, willing to extend a hand and say, hey, I see where you're at. I see what you're going through. I want to help you. And there's so many people that are at where we want to be, and they've gotten there through mistakes. They've gotten there and are successful by things that they've done, but also they've had the failures along the way. And so what's great about it is they can look down and say, hey, don't do that. Do this. I suggest you do this. I suggest you do that. That's why we get mentors. That's why we get coaches. That's why but here's the best thing in the world. If you can take someone and turn them into an authentic, real friend, a friend for life, you've got somebody in your court that will be there for you no matter what. And that's one of the great things I've been blessed and fortunate to have, is get a return on relationship, build relationships, network, connect with people. Because then when you have something that does go wrong, they're there. And for me, the biggest go wrong for me was on my entrepreneurial journey. You hear this phrase that says, put your oxygen mask on first. And it's something that sort of was overused, and everyone was saying it for a while and they got away. And then now people are kind of saying it again, self-care, taking care of yourself. But there's so much truth to that phrase. So when you're flying in the airplane, the plane depressurizes, mask drop down, put yours on first before you put your kids on. You put them on for the elderly, because if you pass out and you can't help your kids, you can't help anybody around you. So take care of yourself first. That was not me. I put my family in jeopardy. I put my family in harm, and I didn't put my oxygen mask on first. I was the person, when the plane was depressurized, pushing the cart up and down the aisleway, asking people if they would like a top off of their drink, more peanuts. Can I get you a warm towel? I was taking care of everybody, but I wasn't taking care of myself. And I was extremely heavy. I was 400 pounds. I had a neck pillow that I didn't have to buy from Sharper Image when I traveled, because it was self-installed. And I was 400 pounds. Now, your body can only take being overweight by 200 pounds for so long before things start happening. And so what wrong for me? This was before COVID, I was walking into a grocery store. And any of you that have been through a medical emergency can relate a little bit to what I'm feeling here on a mass level. I walked into the grocery store. We went right. We got through the plant section. Usually in grocery stores, they send you through the plants and the flower section first. It's a total impulse buy. You're like, oh, wow, these flowers are beautiful. I'm going to buy these for myself or my someone, or I love that plant. So we got halfway through the plant section through Holiday Market, and I felt this tingliness and weirdness in my left foot. And then it didn't stop. It went off my left foot. It went up my shin. It went up my knee. It went up my thigh. It went up the left side of my body. And it stopped right about my shoulder. And so the left side of my body basically went numb. I knew this wasn't normal. This wasn't right. And all the bad things went through my head of what this possibly could be. You know, am I having a heart attack? Am I having a stroke? What's going on? I have never in my life been that scared. That was a went wrong for me. And it was catastrophic, or could have been catastrophic. My wife was concerned. I sat down. We decided what I was going to do. I didn't want to make a big scene. We didn't call an ambulance. We just hopped in the car and my wife took me to the hospital. So I had a stroke, and strokes are bad. And they kill you. And I'd survived that. And the thing that's so key that I want you all to remember is the reason I'm alive today, the reason I'm on this podcast with this amazing person, Tabatha, and talking to all you amazing people that follow her and listen to her. I'm here because my went wrong was corrected by somebody. And so as you think of 2024 and the year coming up, there's going to be something along your journey this year where you're going to need someone to be there for you. And right now, you might not know that situation is going to come up. You don't know that's going to happen because you're not a fortune teller. You can't read the future. If you can, super, let's talk after, reach out to me. But things are going to happen. Things are going to come along, and you're going to need to tap in, and you're going to need to have people be there for you. So I'll try and make this long story short. I met a guy by the name of Russell Brunson. He runs a digital marketing company called ClickFunnels, and it's an incredible company. It's massive. It's huge. Hundreds and hundreds and hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of people use the software. They're in the community, in the millions. And I watched one of his webinars and got pulled into his digital marketing world. And so I started to build a relationship with Russell, develop a friendship, and turn that into something that was authentic. And then after Russell, I'm like, well, who are Russell's friends? So I started following them, and I started building a relationship with them. And so you kind of look like this big domino. Russell Brunson was this big domino that knocked over all these other dominoes and made me meet all these other people. So let's fast forward from Russell. I met a guy by the name of Wallace Nelson. I never would have met Wallace if I didn't build a relationship or connect with Russell. So that's why you have to understand it's so important to connect with as many people as you can, build relationships, have them be authentic, because from that person, you're going to meet someone else, you're going to meet someone else, you're going to meet someone else. And you don't know in that connection of people who the person is in that group that you're going to need help from someday, or someone that you're going to be able to help too as well, because it goes both ways. A return on relationship is exactly what it says it is. It's a two-way street. If it's one way, then there's no return. It's one side, and the relationship isn't going to work. So I met this guy named Wallace Nelson. He saw entrepreneurial Chris trying to run his business, trying to get his business off the ground, not taking care of himself, 400 pounds. I've got 9 kids. I have a wife. This guy looks at me and says, he's a ticking time bomb. It's only a matter of time before something catastrophic happens and this guy's going to die. He loved me. He cared about me. He appreciated what I did for him as I showed gratitude and reached out to him, and he wanted to return the favor. There's the return. He put me into his coaching program, his health and wellness program. I was able to text him. It was like, if I had a difficulty, if I was weak or struggling, I could text him and say, hey, here's what's going on. He would help encourage me, motivate me. Best kind of coaching in the world you can have, one-on-one, just like that. And so what's great is he brought my weight down. So my weight came down considerably from 400, way down, and was getting healthier. People are like, well, if you got healthier, then why'd you have a stroke? The damage was done. It wasn't a matter of if, it was when. I mean, there's so much damage and stuff I had done to my body. Anyway, I was in my bed at the hospital, hooked up to these machines. And every time I think of this, I start to get emotional, because I just take myself back there and I remember how I felt. I recorded a video for my children. And this video was in case I had another stroke, because sometimes if you have a second wave or something else happens, lights out. And so I recorded this video, and it basically was, Daddy is going to be okay, and I love you guys. And that was the essence of the video. I still have it saved on my phone to this day, and I watch it sometimes to remind me where I don't want to go back to. So I recorded the video, gave the phone back to my wife, and I really don't want anything to do with my phone. I didn't want to text anybody. I didn't want to do anything. Just didn't want to communicate with anybody. Obviously, I'm hooked up to the machines. I'm scared to death. I'm laying in bed, worried. What's going to happen next? Am I going to die? What's going on? My phone went off. My wife was like trying to persuade me to take my phone back. And I'm like, I don't want anything to do with it. You keep it. Please, no. You just take care of it. So after some persuading, she got me to take my phone back. I took my phone back. She goes, check your text messages. So I clicked on one of them, and I didn't recognize the phone number. And then I read the message and said, Christopher, this is Russell Brunson. I heard what happened to you, and I want you to know that we're praying for you and we're thinking of you. Then my phone immediately went off. Another person. And these are people in the digital marketing world that we are in, Tabatha, that you'd be like, wow, that'd be really cool to get a message from that person one day. That'd be really awesome. Yeah. But the key thing is, I was at my lowest I had probably ever been in my life. The thing that went wrong for me was I potentially was going to die. And that's a low point. And they reached out to me to encourage me and to let me know they were thinking of me and praying for me and praying for my family. And that gave me a really good feeling. So at that moment, it picked me up a little bit because of the care and concern of others. And then it made me think about my wife told the doctor a little bit of the story of what was going on. And he said, make sure you send a Christmas card, a thank you card, all the holidays, just reach out whenever to this person that helped you get in their health and wellness program that got you healthier, because that very well saved your life. So my biggest, which is pretty big, oops, is making it so that you're not going to be on this planet anymore. I mean, we all make mistakes, but this one was pretty catastrophic. But I had people in my life that cared about me, and they saved my life. So I was in Florida at a wrestling tournament with Russell, and there was just me and a couple other people there, and my son was there. And my son is a wrestler and wrestled in college, and Russell's very competitive and my son's very competitive, and so they had this whole plan that they were going to wrestle at the end of the day after Russell did his normal wrestling with all the other men of his age. They were like, him and Spencer were going to wrestle. So before Spencer and him, so I was on the beach, and it was great. I was really glad that day that I was able to. Russell's the type of person that doesn't want to be complimented or really put in the spotlight unless he has to. And he has to do that sometimes when he speaks at events and stuff. But I was able to look him in the face and say, thank you for saving my life, because he had things that went wrong. You talk about when things go wrong, you hear his story. Holy
Yep.
cow. All the things that went wrong is he built ClickFunnels, and he kept going and kept pushing. But Russell shared at my symposium, the thing that allowed him to be able to get through wasn't fun. It wasn't Facebook ads. It was relationships. I mean, Russell built his business on relationships, and that's how they survived and got through. And that's relationships with all sorts of people. But I was able to look at him and say, thank you. Thank you for saving my life. And of course, very humbly, he's like, no problem. And let's not talk about it anymore. But
Right.
right after that, my son and him they were going to go wrestle. And so I pulled Spencer aside. I'm like, do me a favor. He's like, what, Dad? I'm like, don't break my friend. Don't hurt him. Don't injure him. Don't do anything stupid. He's got like 2 more days of wrestling, and I don't want you to be the reason. So anyway, they went out and they started wrestling, and they're both competitive. And I'm like sitting there biting my nails the whole time going, oh, please. But it turned out okay. No one got injured. But yeah. So for me, that was a big thing. And I'm alive today because of it. And I'm alive today because of a relationship. And that's why I'm so passionate about ROR and return on relationship and teaching this and having people understand and learn it. There is going to be a positive experience and there could be a negative experience. Something's going to go on in your life where you're going to need someone. And when you have these oopses, when you have these go wrongs, it's really great not to have to go it alone. It's great to have other people there with you to celebrate the wins, but also celebrate the failures and the things that go wrong. And so encircle yourself with incredible people that are going to cause you to want to be better and to improve and be better. So there's my long answer for
Yes.
you.
No, I mean, oh, so many of that in the story, I could just get chills because I do know your story and I know the timeline a little bit, but I loved that you shared that you had these relationships and you were getting healthy and something still went wrong. And that's okay. You're alive today because of your journey. And I think so many times as entrepreneurs or just people in general, we think, oh, when I'm doing the right things, then nothing can happen to me, right? Like I have this armor, and realizing that it's not necessarily about where you are right now. It can be, where you were before, the things that you had happened before, but you armed yourself with the people that were meant to be in your life because this was going to happen and this happened, and you were able to look at this and say, no, I am not defined by this. Because you could have very easily, I mean, I know a lot of people in your situation where they're like, man, I finally get healthy and then I have a stroke. Why am I doing the work to get healthy then? And then they just give up on it. And you were like, no, I need to keep going. And these people, just their motivation and being in your life really attributed to that. And so if you're listening on this podcast, maybe you're that person of encouragement. If you see somebody who's struggling, or maybe a friend of yours, do not be stingy with your words. Don't think, oh, they don't want to hear it. Or like, Russell could have very easily been like, oh, Christopher doesn't want to hear from me. He's in the hospital. He has 9 kids. He has lots of family. He doesn't want to hear from me. No, he was like, I'm going to send this to him, whether he reads it or not, whether he has his phone or not. I'm going to send this. And so, my little takeaway of this is like when you see somebody in your life and you do have a relationship with them and they might be struggling or they go through a hard time, whether that's a bankruptcy, a divorce, a health scare, don't be afraid to say, hey, I'm here for you. You're an amazing person. Keep doing what you're doing. Because those words, I know for Christopher, they sat in his heart and he was like, okay, I'm going to do this. Now, his kids would be enough. But the problem is when we do things for our kids or we do things for other people, like Christopher said, that's still you putting the oxygen mask off or on first instead of putting yourself first. And when you hear it from like an outside source that's not quite as close to you, but you still have a relationship, it just means a little bit more. Because of course his kids are going to come and be like, Daddy, don't die. I mean, of course they love you. They're going to do that. And you hear it. But when it's from somebody who maybe is a little bit twice, third removed, you're like, man, my impact is bigger than just my inner circle. And that what went wrong, I know catapulted you into saying, I am going to invest in my family more. I'm going to invest in my mission more, which is to help people build their relationships. I'm going to build my business more, my financial future for my family, for my wife. Because I mean, there's been some health scares and, not just with you. And so I know that this is a bigger picture and we could talk here for hours and hours, but I just want to thank you for sharing from your heart because I know how hard that is to go to that place for you. I could feel the emotion that where it took you back to that place. And it's hard to go back to those hard places. It really is. And that's what I love about this podcast because we're able to go there and remember it and be like, this is what I did. And your business is such a testament to what you did. You live your business, you live the ROR lifestyle. And I love that about you. That's what makes you so integrous. That's why I'm always like, if you want to build your influence in this world, talk to this man because this is by far the best way. It's not the easiest, it's not the simplest, it's not whatever you want to title buzzwords to it, but it's the most effective and it's what's going to give you your heart center in a way of growing, even if you just want to ROR to have better friendships. He does such great things. Like what I've learned from him, I even use on my husband and my friendship. So it doesn't even necessarily have to mean return, meaning money. It's just about like enriching those lives. And that's what I love about your business. That's what I love about you and Jennifer is that you guys are so heart centered and you can feel it and you can feel that passion. So how can people find you? How can they know who you are? Do you have anything for the audience? You just share what is on your heart right now.
Absolutely. So I want to, there's something that I can direct everyone to that they can learn. One of the biggest stops, and people always have like these obstacles or these barriers. Like if you're trying to work out, it's like, what are the barriers to that? It's like, okay, well, I need to get a gym membership or I need to, so it's like, how can I easily get rid of as many obstacles as possible so that you can get to the destination that you want to go? And so,
Yep.
When next time you're at the store, they have all these superstores now. Walmart has them where you can buy shoes or you can get a gallon of milk. So go to the shoe department, buy a pair of walking shoes next time you go and be like, you know what, tomorrow I'm just going to go out and go on a walk. I'm not going to do anything. I'm just going to put my headphones on and I'm going to go out and do a walk. Get rid of those obstacles. So one of the obstacles what people have in reaching out is I try and tell people to polarize themselves from everyone else. People are like, well, how do I be authentic? How do the people that I'm reaching out to know that I'm authentic? That my intentions are right. My intentions are pure. And so what's the biggest way? I tell people, be different than everyone else. And they're like, okay, that's a quick little answer, but yeah, it's so true. So you look at the way people communicate right now and they're reaching out to each other. Do it differently. Everything right now is electronic. Everything's DMs, everything's digital messaging. And it's a great tool. It's a great thing that we can use, but everybody else is doing that. So how do you differentiate yourself from everyone else? Don't do that. Don't be that person that sends them a message and then literally 5 seconds later, ask them how their business is doing, then segue into, I want to talk to you about what I do. So connect authentically. And the best way that you can do that is to reach out to people. Make a goal in 2024 to send handwritten notes as part of my routine. Every single morning, I write 2 notes a day and I send them out to people every single day. Now, these are people that I know that are in my circle of influence here locally where I live, family and friends, but also people that live around the world, people that live around the country. So I call it, when I was at Funnel Hacking Live, I gave a freebie to everyone, and it's called The Power of 2 Cards. And there is tremendous power when you write in the handwritten word. It's, I mean, the way people text and sent messages back in the olden days was before even telegrams, was through the mail. They would write a note, fold it up, put a stamp on it, and send it. And so I'm saying all this for a reason, because I'm going to get rid of an obstacle that some of you are probably thinking about. Okay, great. I buy in. I want to reach out to people. I want to send them notes. But there's a problem. I'm going to solve that for you here. So the power of 2 cards. Send 2 thank you cards a day, every single day. Wake up, part of your routine, have them sitting on your desk, and you don't have to write a book. It doesn't have to be this really long thing, because you don't want to do that to anyone, because that makes them feel uncomfortable, because it makes them think that you're up to something. Just find something about them that you're grateful for, that you're thankful for, and tell them that, and keep it very short. Now, here's the beautiful thing. People are always like, well, how do they get in touch with me? How do they get back to me? You know, how are they going to reach back to me? Number one, don't be concerned about that, because that takes away from what it is that you're trying to do. But number two, on the outside of the envelope, it has your first name, your last name, and it has your address. They have over 50% of the information they need, almost 90% of the information they need to be able to find out how to get in contact with you. They have your first and last name, they have your address. They know where you live. And so anyway, it's a great way to give somebody your information, how they can get in contact with you without saying, hey, Tabatha, here's my name, here's my address, here's my Instagram handle, here's my phone number. Reach back to me and let me know how amazing I am, and say something nice about me or do something nice for me. So serve first, serve with gratitude, show gratitude, reach out to individuals, connect the old fashioned way. And what's great about it is those notes that you send out to people, those are seeds. And then you take that seed. I know that you'll relate to this, Tabatha, a little bit in your family, but you plant that, and then you've got to do things to it to get it to grow properly. And there's certain things that you do to that seed to make it grow. And so it's so important to plant the seed, to let someone know. And the other thing is, when someone gets this note, they feel incredible. There's like, hey, this person recognized me. This person noticed me. They are interested in me. They took the time to get to know me. They're following me, and then they're showing gratitude to me for something that I did for them. And everybody loves to be complimented. I haven't met a person that, there are people that don't pour on the compliments, but everybody deep down inside likes someone to say something positive about themselves.
It's appreciation. It's if you show appreciation. And what I notice, and I'm going to piggyback on your 2 card thing, because I also want to make this where people are like, oh, it doesn't matter, people throw them away. And I did this, and I have it in my desk. I'm not quite as diligent as Christopher is with 2 a day. I'm going to get there, Christopher. I'm going to, I promise.
Right.
But get like the funny ones that have like a little like peach on it, and it says, have a peachy day. Something when they open it, they're just going to smile. Our world is so indoctrinated with fast pace and like negativity. Just send something with like a smiley face or like a sunshine, and just say, you brightened my day with your Instagram post. I just want to thank you with all that you do for your audience. Put your name, leave it alone. You know, we get in our head about all the words that we need to say, and does this sound, it's like if you were literally talking to someone who, you know, you saw their Instagram channel, they had a good message, and they were standing there, wouldn't you say, oh my gosh, you did such a great job? And then you just write it, and then you just send it. And if it's colorful, if it's bright, the human psyche likes that. That when we see that, and when we see in the mail, it's not a bill, we just throw the bills over and we're like, look at this one. You know, we rip it open and we look at it and we think, oh, that's awesome. We're not thinking, oh, what does this person want? Right. And so I just had to piggyback on that, because I know so many people are like, well, what do I do? What kind of font do I have? What stationery? Like, what's going to have the most impact? And humor always transverts when it's just a simple, bright, not vulgar. You just got to go like with something that's bright, something that's fun. There's so many things on Amazon. You can get like 250 cards for like $10 or something. It's such an easy barrier to go through.
Maya Angelou, she says it best. People will forget what you did. People will forget what you said, but they'll never forget how you made them feel. And everything is connected to feeling. And so when they open that up, and people hold on to them, I save every card that people send me, and they have them pinned around my office. They're in a box. I just, you don't want to throw it away. Someone took the time to send that and write that to me. Not everyone holds on to them, but I do. And I've gotten on a Zoom call with someone and they held up the thing and say, hey, remember you sent me this 2 years ago? Still sitting on my desk, still here. Don't want to throw it away. And so biggest obstacle that people have though, people say, okay, I want to reach out, but how do I find their address to send it? So here's the thing for your listeners and your watchers. If they go to, this is a great way to start, and you can start to come into my world and you start learning more about ROR, but you need to know their address. How do I send it? Where do I send it? So I am teaching. So I have a free training that I do that teach how to do this. And so if you go to therormethod.com, which is TheRormethod, therormethod.com/address, little dash, finder. Therormethod.com/
and we'll put that in the show
address
notes
dash finder.
too,
Yeah. Put that in the show notes.
Go
to that. And then I'm doing free training that teaches you one of the easiest ways to be able to get the address of someone. So if you have an influencer, if you have a mentor, if you have someone that you're trying to reach out to, you're like, wow, I have nowhere to send it. I can't find it online. Actually, sometimes you can find it online. The problem is all the public directories are false and wrong and old information, and it doesn't work. But I'm going to teach you how to do, so I teach how to do this and the easiest way possible. And when you learn this, you'll be like, oh my word, I never thought of this. This is great. And it works like magic. And so, yes. So how do people get in touch with me? I want to teach you how to find people's addresses so you can reach out and contact people more. Because if you don't have their address, then you have to resort to digital. You have to send them an Instagram message, a Facebook message, an email. And that's so impersonal compared to the physical touch of sending something out. So reach out and touch somebody. Reach out and send something to someone. And then there's so many things, Tabatha, we talk about those all the time and things we're doing there's next levels to all those things of reaching out and connecting and what you can do for these people. But start with something simple that's going to have huge impact.
Yes, I love that. Well, thank you. Thank you so much, Christopher. I will put that all in the show notes. And I love your story. And I love that you went deep. I am so thankful and grateful for you because we all know that what went wrong led to what went right. So thank you so much, Christopher. And until next time, see you later, guys.